My name is Paulina, and we would like to introduce Cumulus, our concept for a brainstorming tool that empowers all students to have a creative voice when working in groups. We are a 4-person team. With me, I have Jackie, Xianglian, and Chris. We would like to thank our sponsors, Dr. Andy Cargile and Dr. Kristen Chaffan from Smart Technologies for their continuing support and guidance throughout this project. In our initial investigation, we observed groups of students working and brainstorming together, and we saw that some students were quieter than others and did not contribute many thoughts or ideas to the discussion. When we asked the students to describe their experiences, several of them identified as introverts and told us that they got stuck and could not come up with ideas because they felt social pressure to work and think quickly. That's when we saw a clear link between personality and types of experiences that students have when working together. And we actually saw that introverts represent 50% of the population, and there are countless examples of brilliant introverts throughout history who rely on solitude in order to do their best work. We also saw a clear mismatch between the pillars of brainstorming and the traits that define introversion, such as wanting to think carefully before you speak, being energized by solitude, having an inner dialogue, and wanting to take time to process information. When we compare the two, it is clear why traditional brainstorming is not an effective method for capturing the thoughts and perspectives of introverts.
So why do we care? In the context of group collaboration, exposure to diverse perspectives helps all the students learn and make new connections. But this only happens when students communicate and share with one another. So we see that when student groups aren't able to tap into the knowledge of some group members, the potential idea and connections are limited. In her book, Quiet: Unlocking the Power of Introverts, Susan Cain talks about introverts' unique capacity for reflective thought and problem solving. She suggests that the best way to maximize introverts' ability is to put them into the zone of stimulation that suits them. Through our research, we found that in order to maximize introverts' ability, we found that introverted students need time and space in order to maximize their abilities. Just as large group discussion is stimulating for extroverts, time away from the group is the zone of stimulation that works best for introverts.
So this understanding led us to a design question. How might we design a brainstorming tool to help undergraduate student groups leverage the creative power of all group members? We believe that by addressing this problem, students can increase their shared knowledge, create new connections, and collaborate more effectively. After multiple rounds of research, prototyping, and testing, we arrived at a solution, Cumulus, a web application that combines both individual and group ideation to maximize the creative power of students with different work styles. Now, we'd like to show you a concept video to demonstrate how Cumulus can help students brainstorm better.
This is the typical group brainstorm. It's fast, unstructured, and chaotic. The goal, of course, is to generate as many ideas as possible. And for some students, this high-energy social environment is exactly what they need to get their ideas flowing. But for many others, this environment can be overwhelming. It can be hard to think clearly when everybody's talking and things move quickly. When given time to work on their own, introverted students are better able to make connections and solve complex problems. For groups who want a more effective way to tap into the creative power of all group members, we introduce Cumulus, a web application that guides student groups through a series of simple steps, offering functionality that supports the way students like to work and think along the way. The group starts by creating a brainstorm prompt and identifying a target number of ideas they want to generate. Instead of jumping into a group discussion, students start by generating ideas on their own. Group members can quickly enter written or sketched ideas, working collectively towards a shared goal. Keywords from submitted ideas can be used to inspire other group members. This way, a single idea can spark new and different concepts. Once the target number of ideas has been reached, group members can view and consider all ideas, write personal notes to themselves, and mark those they are most excited about. Preparing their thoughts and perspectives beforehand helps introverted students to be more confident and likely to contribute during the group brainstorm. By supporting group collaboration and ideation across multiple stages and contexts, Cumulus enables student teams to maximize the creative potential of all group members.
Now that you have a basic understanding of what Cumulus is, I'm going to talk more about how it works. While traditional brainstorming usually happens in a single group session, Cumulus extends this experience with additional steps to take full advantage of both private and social environments. Our process starts with individual ideation, which gives students time away from the group to generate ideas on their own. In the preparation phase, they'll then have access to other members' ideas to prepare their thoughts for a later discussion. During the group session, students will come together to build on and spark new ideas. And finally, in the synthesis phase, they can continue to develop and add ideas on their own after the group discussion. Cumulus is integrated into the existing suite of Google Drive applications that many student groups already use for their collaborative projects. This way, students will be able to seamlessly incorporate Cumulus into the existing collaboration workflow.
So in order to iterate on our design, we created interactive prototypes and tested with student groups on campus. Insights from this testing helped us to make informed design decisions and to incorporate functionality that supports user needs at each stage of the process. So I'm going to highlight key findings from each phase of the Cumulus system and talk about the design decisions that spawn from each understanding. So let's start with individual ideation. We saw that in contrast to introverted students, extroverts tend to rely on interaction with their group members in order to do their best work and generate ideas. So Cumulus allows students to inspire one another using simple keywords with the Inspire Me button. So for each idea that a student generates, they will add a keyword that they feel captures the essence of that idea. So when another group member gets stuck, they can simply view those keywords and that will help them to generate new ideas. So the benefit of this feature is that it allows students to be inspired by one another without being limited by the scope of their ideas. For the preparation phase, we saw that introverted students are much more likely to contribute to the group discussion if they have time to gather their thoughts and formulate a perspective prior to talking with their group. So before the group brainstorm phase, students can pin the ideas that they want to discuss, and they can write personal notes themselves to document their thoughts and get prepared for that discussion with the group. During the group brainstorm phase, we heard that students are often worried about being judged by others for the quality of their ideas, and this can sometimes limit how much they end up contributing to the group. So by keeping all ideas anonymous, Cumulus limits social pressures and can minimize the barriers to submitting wild ideas to the group. So the last stage of the Cumulus process is individual synthesis, and because introverts often like to spend additional time making connections on their own, it's important that they're able to easily add new ideas to the system at any point in the Cumulus process. And likewise, it's important for all group members to be able to keep up to date and in the loop about what others are thinking. So Cumulus facilitates an ongoing dialogue that extends beyond the group meetings with desktop notifications that keep all group members up to date on the ideas that are being generated.
We set out to design a brainstorming tool that helps different types of students contribute effectively. And we saw that by changing the traditional brainstorming process, we can have a dramatic impact on how students collaborate. Of course, there are aspects of this problem area that we would love to explore further, and several potential ways of developing this concept. For example, Cumulus can easily extend to industry applications where traditional brainstorming is prevalent but is often just as ineffective. We would also hope for Cumulus to be able to help groups make decisions by allowing the users to organize and categorize their ideas into buckets. Thank you very much for your attention. We would like to thank our wonderful instructors for supporting and guiding us through this project. And once again, thank you to Smart Technologies. We're happy to take your questions.